You experience your spaghetti through your tongue, do you not? You experience your Instagram through your eyes, do you not? Next time you take a shower, just say, I will non-physically do my shower. Next time you go to work, just say, I'll do it non-physically. Next time you're going to tell your wife, I love you, just say, I'll do it within my heart on a Sunday. You're not going to do it physically. Your wife will tell you how long that marriage will last. You want to build a relationship with your guru? You have to fulfill it physically. Don't spend time with your child for 18 years and when the child grows up, say, but I loved you just deep within my heart. I didn't need to show it to you. It was just on my heart. I just thought about you once an hour every Sunday, and see how that relationship with the child will come out to be. Nahi pyareo, what is your relationship with the guru becoming like? What is your relationship with the Sangat becoming like? We are not embracing the Gursikh. We are not doing ustat of the Gursikh. We are not laying down at the Gursikh. Namaskar dandaut kar. Gur bhai gal mil gal lawe. When was the last time you laid down in front of a Gursikh? You haven't. But I'm sure you've done a lot of nindya. I'm sure you've talked down. You might say, no, I'll talk good about my friends, but not down about that other person. When you talk in your little circles, in your little WhatsApp groups, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿੰਦਿਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, but yet you're not willing to lay down that person, that is why you've not been able to lose your ego. ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਗੱਜ ਵੱਜ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕਰੋ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਜਿੱਥੇ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉੱਥੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਹੂਲਤ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। Where we normally speak in Punjabi, and we encourage you to understand Punjabi, to be able to further understand and dissect the words of Gurbani itself. For your sahulat, we do Gurmat vichar in English as well. ਪਰ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੱਚੀ ਗੱਲ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਾਈਏ, ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਅਗੰਮ ਹੈ। The words of Gurbani that we sing are not from the languages of these worlds that we talk about. The words that we write, the things that we write with paper and ink in this world, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅੱਖਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਖਰ ਜਾਣਗੇ. They will be destroyed within this world and they'll be left here. ਇਹ ਅੱਖਰ ਖਿਰ ਜਾਏਂਗੇ, ਉਹ ਅੱਖਰ ਇਨਮੇ ਨਾ. That one ਅੱਖਰ that we try to connect to is not within the ABCs and the letters that we try to write within this. That ਅੱਖਰ that will go with us, that we implement in our heart. So ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਇੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ, where we read it with our eyes, where we experience Sikhi with our eyes and ears and tongue, I see a common theme within the youth today. And that is that we begin to adopt this philosophy that Sikhi is not physical. That Sikhi is something that we just keep in our heart, keep in the back of our mind, and has nothing to do with our body. But that will be far from the truth. Just like we undergo a physical experience, a human experience in this life, we interact with the world with these eyes, with this nose, and these ears, and these hands, and these feet. In the same way, our thoughts that come out into this world, they come from a non-physical place, deep within our heart, deep within our mind, and a place where thoughts have yet to come out into fruition before they even manifest within this world. ਕੁਝ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ that take us to understand beyond this world and beyond our body. But before this physical body was manifested, we have to understand, ਆਪਾਂ ਅਸਥੂਲ ਸਰੀਰ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸੂਖਸ਼ਮ ਸਰੀਰ ਧਾਰਨ ਕੀਤਾ. We took on a physical form. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੂਖਸ਼ਮ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਦੀ ਇੱਛਾ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਈ. The desire for worldly vikars and that ignorance existed in our mind in a non-physical sense, in a non-physical body. Therefore, our non-physical body adopted a physical body. And now we continue to pursue those desires through a physical body. फिर मन सोचता, and then your mind thinks, then how can I renounce the physical body to get to something non-physical? The experience of Sikhi happens in both. And this is where you see to understand that you're not limited to the body, but you cannot ignore the physical world either, because that is where your experience exists. But you will go from a place to not even knowing anything that is non-physical, to a place where you can completely ignore the physical and stay stable and in bliss, regardless of what's going around you. Live within the chaos, but find bliss within the chaos. ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਨੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪੂਜਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੁੱਖ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਖੀ ਕਰੂਗਾ। ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਰੱਬ ਦੀ ਕਾਹਤੋਂ ਪੂਜਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ? ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਨਮੋ ਕਲਹ ਕਰਤਾ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਲੇਸ਼ ਪਾਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਆ। ਆਖੋ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਰੱਬ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਮੋ ਕਲਹ ਕਰਤਾ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਲੇਸ਼ ਪਾਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਾਹਤੋਂ ਪੂਜਦੇ ਆ? ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਨਮੋ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਰੂਪੇ। ਉਹੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਮੋ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਰੂਪ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਆ। ਪਰ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਲੇਸ਼ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵਿਕਾਰ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਪੈਦਾ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। I don't want you to undertake this philosophy that maybe the world gives you, that God is only the giver of the peace and everything else that happens in the world is maybe some satanic figure, that maybe comes from somewhere else, and maybe we're trying to use God to battle the world. But no, God exists within that world as well. And so maybe within that, our whole psyche of how we try to understand the Sikhi to begin with, it breaks. To say, ek minute, Rab, tu hi kalesh pauna wala, fir tenu kaado puchda? Why do I sing to you? Par nahi pyareo, Parmatma ohi a. Kathu suchet hoye ka chetana kuchar kiyo, kathu achet hoye ka sovat achet ho. Sometimes it is you that is within the chetana, the one that is aware and awake and alert. And kade pyareo, ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਉਹੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਰੂਪ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕਦੇ ਦਰਖਤ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ, ਕਦੇ ਪੱਥਰ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਚੇਤ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੋਇਆ। You are unaware. You are the one that is aware and you are the one that is unaware. You are the one that is existent within the sinner. You exist within the saint. But the sinner has just not recognized it yet. That is the difference. There's been a layer of ego, and through that desire we manifest a false experience within this world, and we chase something that is a mirage. Bhai Gurdas Ji talks about fulfilling the purpose of our hands. You've listened to many talks before about the purpose of your life, but then you say, hold on, but I'm stuck within the physical world. मैं दुनिया दे विच किवें संसार विचों निकल के परमात्मा नाल जोड़ सकां? जे संसार विच आके परमात्मा दा नाम ते होना आ, but I have to go to work with these hands, I have to see with these eyes, I have to hear with these ears. Is Sikhi, and then this is where it's come into our youth, is Sikhi something that's just non-physical? Is Sikhi something that I just keep as a philosophy in the back of my mind, and maybe I believe on a Sunday and a Tuesday, and as that is enough? Nahi pyareo. The experience of Gurmat exists within you, in front of you. Wherever you go, you see Paramatma. Whatever you hear is a Kal Purkh's hukam. You've just not recognized it yet. Even the saints have said, Rab ke to tere to dur nahi. God is not away from you, is not that far from you. But you just don't have the eyes to see it. Nanak akhadiyan bayan jini dasando maapari. Those eyes are rare. Those eyes are blessed that will be able to see the world, not the chaos that's in front of you, but through the illusion to see the Creator. Not to see a person that's standing in front of you tying a damalla with a beard and eyes and nose. No, you're able to see, ये तो मेरा Guru Gobind Singh Ji मेरे वाला वापस देख रहा है। Gursikh पूज के पाए भगत पै पाना पावै. You see the Gursikh, you don't see, oh, this is just my mate, this is my friend, this is the dude that lives down the street. No, this is my form of Guru Gobind Singh Ji talking to me, speaking to me. I embrace that Gursikh in such a way. I serve with these hands. Bhai Gurdas Ji says, fulfill the purpose of these hands, and only then will you be able to understand and fulfill the purpose of your life. Fulfill the purpose of your eyes, and only then will you be able to fulfill the purpose of your life. Fulfill the purpose of your feet, with your ears, with your tongue. What are you doing with your tongue? You listen to slander with your ears, and you speak and repeat that slander with your tongue. So therefore you've wasted that tongue away. There is a purpose behind everything. Gurmukh hath sakathan, sad sangat gur ka rakmave, pani pakha pihna pair to charna amrit pave. These are the words of Bhai Gurdas Ji. A great saint that has fulfilled all of these things with the physical hand. And this description is being given by somebody that says, to somebody that says, that why do I need to fulfill any practice with my hands? What is the fulfillment of my hands if I just need to keep the philosophy in my heart? Bhai Gurdas Ji says, no, that's not enough. What is the point of thinking something else and doing something else with your hand? It exists within your human experience, physically and non-physically. When you understand the fulfillment of your hands and your body, it will take you to a stage where you'll be able to do bhakti beyond your body. This is where the Shabads of Guru Sahib Ji, Akhiyan bajon dekhna, vin kanna sunna, पैरां बाजों चलना विन हत्थां करना जीबे बाजों बोलना एवं जीवत मरना नानक हुक्म पहचानता है तो खसमा मिलना आखो सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरू. With your tongue recite, fulfill this. Even now दरबार दे विच बैठे हैं प्यारियो, रसना कोई वांझी ना रवे, आखो सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरू, फिर आखो सतनाम. Every time you recite it, you are taking a step going forward. कदे भी किसी महापुरख ने यही नहीं किया है मैं बड़ा पछताना मैं गुरु घर जाके सतनाम क्यों कह देता. No one has regretted that. No one has regretted, why did I go to the Gurdwara, मैं यार एवं पछताਉਂਦਾ रह गया मैं क्यों सेवा करदी. ਇਹ ਕਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ. ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਕਿ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਗਿਆਨ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀ ਹੋਈ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਹੋਇਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਏ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਖਿਆਲ ਆਏ? ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਮੁੱਕ ਗਏ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਸੋਚਿਆ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਤੇ ਹੱਸਿਆ. I laughed at myself. They said, why would you laugh at yourself? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਤੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਹੱਸਿਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਮੂਰਖ ਬਣਿਆ ਰਿਹਾ. ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ? ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਟਕ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ. ਕੰਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਨਿੰਦਿਆ ਸੁਣੀ. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੁਣੀ. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ. You don't know what's been going on in my mind. What have I been doing with my tongue? That I regret. What have I done with my feet? Which directions did I walk? I regret that. And they said I laughed at myself. Kyunki kinna moorkh reha. What a fool I was. But now they reached that state. Even with these eyes, you could be looking at anything. You only see the sight of Paramatma. Even if you have no eyes left, you can still see the darshan of the Creator. Akhin bajon dekhna. Without eyes, you can still the Creator. The Creator. You can close your eyes and halle vi Paramatma thade samne hai. They say, hey Maharaj, if we don't have your Sarup in front of us, Maharaj, even if you take out my eyes, if I don't have Panch Singhs in front of me, if I don't have Shastras in front of me, Maharaj, will I still be able to see you? They say, recite God's name in your heart, you will be able to see me wherever you go. Akhin bajon vekhna. Without eyes, you'll be able to see. Vin kanna sunna. Without ears, you'll be able to hear the Shabad of the Guru. Not just limited to these ears. Without feet, can you walk to the Guru? Pairan bajo chalana. Somebody will say, I can't run a marathon without my legs. We put our entire effort into the physical body, but the Guru says you will achieve it beyond the physical body as well. Pairan bajo chalana. You'll be able to walk. Vin hathan karna. You'll be able to do seva. Will you be able to embrace the Guru? Will you be able to embrace another Gursikh without arms? How are you able to achieve that? Pyareo, ਅਫਸੋਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੱਥ ਪੈਰ ਹੁੰਦਿਆਂ ਵੀ, ਅੱਖਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਿਆਂ ਵੀ, ਨੇਤਰ ਹੁੰਦਿਆਂ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ, ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ, ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਰਸਨਾ ਨਾਲ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ. We don't read Gurbani. We decide, I understand the philosophy. I'll take a quote of the day. But nahi. Din rati arado pyaro nimk na kijai tila. Day and night. Look at the standard that we have set. To say, I'll just go and do it on a Sunday. Pyareo, oh Mahampurkh, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਲਗਨ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਆ. They were so imbued in this ras. They were so imbued in God's name. They were so imbued in reading Gurbani that they just couldn't stop. Not to say that they pushed themselves to continue to do it. Just like somebody watches one episode of a TV show, then they carry on to the next and the next and the next, and they pull an all-nighter. Just like that, somebody reads one Shabad and the next Shabad And the next Shabad. Agla Shabad pad liya. Ek bani pad li, chal ek hor pad lene ya. Ek sahaj path kar liya, ek hor kar lene ya. Ek akhand path kar liya, let's do one more. Pyareo, there have been Gursikhs that have walked this land that have done 4 or 5 akhand paths in a row, sitting in one chaunkada. And now compare that to yourself. Take inspiration from that and say, is that fulfillment of the hands and the eyes? Is that fulfillment of the ears? Where they've done that, and here I'm sitting doing one chaupai sahib thinking, there's never been a Gursikh as great as me. When we try to walk the walk of the Baba Deep Singh Jis and Bhai Mani Singh Jis and Mata Bhag Kaur Jis. Pyareo, tina dekh man chao thanda. Sachi gal ya, if you have the eyes, your eyes, if you don't have the eyes today, you will say, that was a different era. That was Baba Deep Singh. He's not here today, but pyareo, sachi gal, if you have the eyes, you will see Baba Deep Singh standing in front of you today. Akho Satnam, Sri Vaheguru. You will see Baba Deep Singh standing in front of you today. You will see the Shaheed Singhs in front of you today. They will never leave you. You will see Guru Ramdas Ji standing in front of you today. But it's a layer, and it's not even that thick. It's described as thinner than the top layer of an onion. Jinni bareek gande di shell hundi hai na upparle, onni bareek akhan de uppar, netran de uppar bharm hai कि परमात्मा मेरे सामने नहीं है. To see, think God is not in front of me. Even Bhagat Ravidas Ji says, I thought God was so far from me. But once I realized, when I recognized it, Keh Ravidas, haath pehne rahe, sehje hoy so hoy. I thought, God, you were so far away from me. I thought you couldn't hear the pains of my life. I thought you weren't there for me. But then I realized you were closer to me than even my own hands, my own limbs. And Bhai Gurdas Ji expands on that and says, if you do not fulfill the purpose of your life with these own limbs that you think that are you, अपने हथ पैर दी सफलता नहीं आपां कर सकदे, तो फिर परमात्मा जिहड़े अपने हत्थां पैरां तो भी लागे आ, ओदी किवें पछाण होगी? How will you recognize the Creator if you don't fulfill with your own hands? So let's walk through this by Gurdas Ji di vaar. Gurmukh hath sakat han. Those are worthy. Sakat da arth hai, they are praised, they are worthy. Those hands, Gurmukhan de, Sad Sangat Gurkar kamave. They do the seva and the kar of the Sad Sangat. And this is a tradition that I'm seeing in the youth that is just going out the window. Yes, you might do seva on your keyboard. Yes, you might be able to do seva on Instagram. But there's nothing equivalent to laying down in the shoes of the Sangat, grabbing onto the shoes of the Sangat, grabbing onto the shoes of somebody that lives down the street that you don't like. That is nimrata, when you can touch your forehead to that person's shoes, to the person that you don't like. You'll do it to your best friend for sure. But can you see Guru in the side of the person that you don't like? That is not humility. That is losing your ego. And then taking the dust of their shoes and putting it to your forehead. And before you ask, I'm too good for that. Before you ask, what is the purpose behind that? Ask Guru Ramdas Ji why they did it. Did they find a purpose behind that? Ask Guru Ramdas Ji why they laid in the shoes of Darbar Sahib, Amritsar Sahib, while Baba Buddha Ji sat in the Darbar. Guru Arjan Dev Ji did seva of the shoes of the Jode in Amritsar Sahib, while Baba Buddha Ji sat on Tabya and did Chaur Sahib. And before you ask, what is the purpose of that? I want you to ask Guru Arjan Dev Ji and say, what did you get out of it? And you'll find the answer within that. Hathan de naal karaj seva karni. Great jathedars like Nawab Kapoor Singh, they would physically go and do the hands. With their hands go and do seva. Pani pakha pihna. They would stand outside Akal Takht and they would wave over the Sangat. Even they had a great slash, a great war wound from one eyebrow down to the bottom of their face in battle. They had a huge scar on their face. Nawab Kapoor Singh did. This is before they were given the Nawabi. They were known as the person that did the seva of the horses. And this is known to be one of the most difficult sevas. Because horses wasn't, you walk in, you do it for an hour, then you chard your hands and you say, Chalo, I've done my hour of seva, I'm going to go home now. I'm clocking out. Next sevadar come in. No, you would sleep with the horses. You would feed with the horses. You would comb and do ishnan with the horses. You would read Gurbani with the horses. You would live there. And where the horses were, there were big, big machhar, ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਮੱਛਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਦੇਖੇ ਨੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਦਲਾਂ ਪੰਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਘੋੜੇ ਰੱਖੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਆ ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਮੱਛਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੜਦੇ, ਐਂਡ ਯੂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਭਾਣਾ ਮੰਨਣਾ, doing the seva of the horses with your hands. Somebody might say, oh, I'm better served somewhere else. But when the great Jathedars are saying, I will accept the service of the Nawabi, I will become your king and your ruler, but you will never take away that seva, that physical seva that I will do with my hands of the horses and the sangat with a fan. Pani pakha pihna, pair toye charnamrit pave. You drink the amrit, you wash the feet of the Gursikhs, and then you drink that amrit. And you might say, oh, that's gross. Before you put this Western mentality in your mind, let me tell you a story on why you cannot adopt that thinking. And it won't exist, and it'll destroy your pavna and your connection with your Guru. At one of my old workplaces, I was sitting with my friend who was another Gursikh. And out of humility, we said to each other, Veer pra, yar main ta tere charna di dhood hai. I'm the dust of your feet. And he looked at me and he said, Nahi Veer, I'm the dust of your feet. And I said, no, I'm the dust of your feet. No, he said, no, I'm the dust of your feet. And as we were saying this to each other, our manager was in the other corner, so confused. And he said, why would you want to become each other's dust of their feet? Isn't that such a weird thing? It doesn't fit his concept. He didn't get it. I would even say to him, like, no, bro, you don't get it. I'm the dust of your feet as well. And he would think, these kids are crazy. What are they talking about? Why would you want to wash someone's feet and drink it, become the dust of somebody's feet? That vocabulary does not exist in your vocabulary today. You don't go to another Gursikh and say, Veer, I'm the dust of your feet. Meri khallo mojde Gursikh khandande. May I peel my skin off. May I make it into leather. And may I lay it out on the ground and turn it into a carpet for another Gursikh to walk on. And not just talk about it, but actually feel it. To a point, even if you had no hands and feet, could you still express it? Pyareo, eh Gurmukhan da prem siga. They would be able to give Shahidi with each other for no problem. They say, Appa apna sees kurban kar deange for you. This is the love and the brotherhood the Gursikhs had. Khair, pani pakha pihna, pair toye charna amrit pave. Gursikham vich inna prem, they would wash each other's feet. They would serve the Sangat in this way. This is the fulfillment of the hands. And by doing this, Guru Roop Guru Sikham vich dikhna hai. Only through this will you be able to see the Guru's form throughout the Gursikhs. Sisters do it to the sisters. Brothers do it to the brothers. In this world, everyone today is feeling lonely. They're looking for a brotherhood. They're looking for somebody that will stand with me at my lowest points. That is considered a true friend. Somebody that stands with you at your time of pain. There is Sikhya given. That is a true horse that looks beautiful as they run. That is a true elephant that looks beautiful in a very, mast chal jadon turda ya. That is a great Vidwan. That Vidwan looks great when they're sitting amongst other great scholars. Because if a great scholar is sitting with a bunch of fools, then the fools aren't going to recognize the scholar. The fools are going to say, Inu ki pata hai. And the fool only looks great if he stays quiet. Because once the fool speaks, they'll know. But pyareo, idda hi Gursikh tahi fabadaya. The Gursikh and the hands tahi fabdeya je Guru di kar kamaunde ne. If the hands are doing the opposite, je paap wal turde ne, then they mean nothing. Then they're worthless. To the point that Bhagat Ji in Gurbani says that je tu eve rakh si, that jio sirire le, that take this, if you're going to keep me to not experience you, if you're going to take me and leave me in this world, in this chikkad of Maya, where I can't experience you, then what's the point of my hands and arms and knees and any of this? Might as well take my body. Take it away from me, because it's worthless after that point. Inna prem. When Bhai Subeg Singh arrives with the Nawabi, even though they're a contract worker for the government of the time, and the Singhs are working against the government, the Singhs that are at Akal Takht and they're running and living in the jungles, Nawab Kapoor Singh comes holding the Nawabi, comes to Akal Takht and doesn't think in his mind, I'm too great to get off my horse. Why should I sit and get off my horse for these unpad Gursikhs? for these unpad people that live in the jungle, because he was a great contractor. He was a lawyer. He worked in the great courts of Lahore. Bhai Subeg Singh did. And he brought it, gave the Nawabi, put it at the feet of the Gursikhs, and the Gursikhs of Akal Takht, those things never thought, well, why this guy thinks he's all that? This guy thinks he works in the government and he does all of that kind of stuff. Nahi. Unhone ne dekhya, eh sada Guru Rup, sada Gur Bhai hai. And they welcomed him with open arms. They sat down, they embraced him. They sat down and they gave that Nawabi to the Pan Singhs, which is given to Nawab Kapoor Singh. Khair, apa hor pakh dekhiye. What was the love between a Gursikh and a Gursikh? Pame ਜਥੇਦਾਰ ਤੇ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਕਾਰ ਹੋਵੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਵੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਗੁਰਭਾਈ ਤੇ ਗੁਰਪਾਈ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਵੇ। ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਪਾਣੀ ਪੱਖਾ ਪੀਣਾ, ਪੈਰ ਧੋਏ ਚਰਨਾਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਪਾਵੈ। That is fulfillment. ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਡੰਡੋਤ ਕਰ, ਗੁਰਭਾਈ ਗਲ ਮਿਲ ਗਲ ਲਾਵੈ। The Gursikhs embrace in this sort of way. ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਲਿਖ ਪੋਥੀਆਂ, ਤਾਲ ਮਰਦੰਗ ਰਬਾਬ ਵਜਾਵੈ। That great is the fulfillment of the hands when you're playing tabla. When you play the tabla and you're singing it for Gurbani, the hand is fulfilled. The moment you start playing it for songs that are talking about lust and greed and attachment, there's no fulfillment in that. To the extent when Bhai Mardana Ji is playing the rabab, somebody is playing the tabla, and the question is asked. They said, how should we play the tabla? What is the purpose of playing the tabla? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj to reply, and they say, the harder you play this tabla, and I know all the Kirtani singers are going to get happy hearing this. They say, the harder you play the tabla, the more you play the tabla, in this loving faith of Akal Purkh, ਉੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਕਲਯੁਗ ਦੇ ਮੂੰਹ ਤੇ ਚਪੇੜਾਂ ਵੱਜਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. The face of a Kaljug is being slapped in the face as you play the tabla, as you sing. As long as you're singing it in loving devotion of the Creator. The fulfillment of the hands we're discussing. Gurbani likh pothiyan, taal, mardang, rabab vijave. This level of bhakti is also being forgotten today. Many of us ask today, the Naujawan ask, and they say, we can't memorize Gurbani. When was the last time you wrote Japji Sahib? When was the last time you wrote your Nityanem? When was the last time you wrote your own Pothi? When was the last time you paid attention to the Siari and the Biari and the Onkar? Mampurkha ne sanu, when we were kids, they asked us, sanu puchya siga, kende kene kenu ithe mool mantar da jap, jab pehliyan panj paudiyaan kanth ne. And we all said, bade maan naal si hath khade kite. And we said, we all know it. Kende lekh ke dikhao fir. Write down the first 5 paudiyaan of Japji Sahib for us. And show me that you actually know it. And the moment we started writing it down, asanu bhul gaye the onkar lagda ki nahi lagda. Asi bhul gaye ithe siari lagdi vi hai ki nahi lagdi. We forgot, how do you spell this word? This bani that we knew, but we didn't know how to spell the words. ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਵਸਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. How are you fulfilling the purpose of your hand? ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ, but when you write ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ, ਵਾਹ ਧੰਨ ਸੋ ਕਾਗਦ ਕਲਮ ਧੰਨ, ਧੰਨ ਭਾਂਡਾ ਧੰਨ ਮਸ, ਧੰਨ ਲਿਖਾਰੀ ਨਾਨਕਾ ਜਿਨ ਨਾਮ ਲਿਖਾਇਆ ਸੱਚ. Great is that writer, great is Bhai Gurdas Ji, who is writing all of Gurbani. Great is Baba Deep Singh Ji and Bhai Mani Singh Ji, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸੰਪੂਰਨ ਲਿਖੇ. Blessed is that. Blessed are those that write the books. And with our fingers, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਨਿੰਦਿਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ chat box ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂ comment section ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਖ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ. How many times and have we called each other bad on Twitter, on comment sections, on thread boxes? And ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਫਲਤਾ ਹੈ. ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਾਚ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. You can look deep within this. How many times have you praised a physical body? Have you talked about attachment and moh and lust and greed and anger with those hands through comment sections? ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਜ਼ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ on our pages. We see it all the time. ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਲਿਖ ਪੋਥੀਆਂ, ਤਾਲ ਮਰਦੰਗ ਰਬਾਬ ਵਜਾਵੇ. They play the rabab. They play the beautiful instruments. They create the beautiful instruments. The hands are fulfilled. When you learn through that, when you learn that procedure, you're walking on the purpose and fulfilling the purpose of your life. So your experience of bhakti becomes physical, does it not? And to be able to tame the hand even further, this is where the physical maryada comes. Now does it make sense why you wear a kada? And why you wear a kada to remind you what the purpose of this hand is. Before you ask this question and say, why do I need Amrit? Why do I need to go to physically to the Gurdwara? I will sit at home on Zoom and YouTube, I'll fulfill everything. You can't touch the feet of the Gursikhs on Zoom. You can't embrace another Gursikh. You can't lay your eyes physically at the feet of a Gursikh because you can't see their feet. You can't do Chaur Sahib online. How are you going to fulfill? If you don't put the kada on your arm, then you might forget next time you reach on your phone and you pull out dirty videos and your eyes are looking upon that, the kada is going to remind you. Next time you're about to slander and beat somebody down being innocent with your own hands, that kada is going to remind you. Next time you're about to steal something, next time you're about to touch somebody's body in the wrong way, that kada should be reminding you. Now do you understand why your physical maryada exists? It exists to the point where पैरां बाजों चलना, with हत्थां करना, even without hands and feet, you will be able to fulfill bhakti. And now you are telling yourself, oh youth of this era, you are telling yourself that Sikhi is just a philosophy that you keep in the back of your mind and you only practice it on a Sunday? Nahin pyareo. You are missing out on the experience of Sikhi. You don't know what you're missing out on. Because ask those that do experience it through their hands. They will say that through every hair follicle, every cell of my hand, as I'm doing seva, I'm experiencing God. Vadde Mahampurkh Sant Gyani Gurbachan Singh, their story, you experience, you've read it, where they're reading Gurbani, and as they're reading Gurbani, they keep on reciting the same pankti again and again and again and again. As they're reciting Gurbani, the Singhs ask Mahampurkh ko, why were you not reading agge? Tusi var-var ose pankti de katon var-var jaap kar rahe sige? Agge vi tusi padho. Oh kende main kiਵੇਂ agge pad sakda? How could I read the next line? क्योंकि गुरु नानक देव जी ने अपने हत्थां नाल अपनी गुरबाणी विचों मेरियां अपनियां बावां कढ के they grabbed onto me and they were holding on to me through that pankti. I couldn't read on to me. I couldn't go next. ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੜੋ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ? ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਹੱਥ ਬਾਹ ਫੜੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੀਗੀ. They were holding on to my hand. With their hand, they're feeling the presence of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And they said, how could I move forward when Guru Nanak Dev Ji is holding on to my hand? And you are saying that your Sikhi is not physical? You've not experienced it. Yet you experience your pasta. You experience your spaghetti through your tongue, do you not? You experience your Instagram through your eyes, do you not? Next time you take a shower, just say, I will physically do my shower. Or non-physically do my shower. Next time you go to work, just say, I'll do it non-physically. Next time you're going to tell your wife, I love you, just say, I'll do it within my heart on a Sunday. You're not going to do it physically? Your wife will tell you how long that marriage will last. You want to build a relationship with your Guru? You have to fulfill it physically. Akho Satnam Sri Vai. You want to spend time with your children? Don't spend time with your child for 18 years, and when the child grows up, say, but I loved you just deep within my heart. I didn't need to show it to you. It was just on my heart. I just thought about you once an hour every Sunday. And see how that relationship with the child will come out to be. Nahi pyareo, what is your relationship with the Guru becoming like? Where you're not coming to the Guru's house. What is your relationship with the Sangat becoming like? Where you're not embracing the Gursikh. Where you're not doing ustat of the Gursikh. Where you're not laying down at the Gursikh. Namaskar dandaut kar. Gur bhai gal mil gal lave. When was the last time you laid down in front of a Gursikh? You haven't. But I'm sure you've done a lot of nindya. I'm sure you've talked down. You might say, no, I'll talk good about my friends, but not down about that other person. When you talk in your little circles, in your little WhatsApp groups, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿੰਦਿਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, but yet you're not willing to lay down that person, that is why you've not been able to lose your ego. ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਾ, ਬਾਬਾ ਜਸਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਭਗਤ ਜੀ ਵੱਡੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ. ਉਹ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਉਮਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 10, 11, 12, 10 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ. We would sleep in the living room. And ਜਦੋਂ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਾਗ ਆਉਣੀ? ਸਵੇਰੇ 2 ਵਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਉਠਾਉਣਾ. They would wake us up. How? I was a little child, 10 years old. I would go to sleep. They would make us go to sleep on plywood as well. As we're sleeping in the middle of a living room, whole bunch of Singhs, there's about 15 of us. And we're laying down. I was the youngest out of all of them. And in the middle of the night, something on my knees started feeling very, very good. My feet started feeling very, very comfortable. I said, wow, bada anand. ਗੋਡਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਬੜਾ ਆਨੰਦ, ਲੱਤਾਂ 'ਚ ਬੜਾ ਆਨੰਦ. ਜਦੋਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਜਾਗ ਆਈ ਨਾ, ਦੇਖਿਆ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖ ਲੰਮੇ ਪੈ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਪੈਰ ਘੁੱਟਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. They were laying down. Somebody that is 70 years old is grabbing onto the feet of a 10-year-old, lays down and squeezes my feet. And as I recognized what was going on, we jumped up. ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, there was another Singh, ਭੋਲਾ ਭਾਇਆ, come from India. ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਪਤਾ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਝਿੜਕ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਾਇਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ. Singh ਆਇਆ, he was about 19-20 years old at the time. He arrived from India, student ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਇਆ, ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ started living. He just started living in the same house. And ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ. The mothers know about the child. And the mother asked the Singh, he said, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਠੀਕ ਚੱਲਦਾ? ਮੰਮੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਆਇਆ, ਮੁੰਡਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਆਇਆ. He came to Toronto. He was living there as a student. He was 20 years old. He didn't know what was going on. So sometimes he would do ishnan. Kai vari singhan di aadat hundi hai, bachchiyan di aadat hundi hai. They would do ishnan, and after switching their kashara, they would just leave the old kashara in the shower. You know you're guilty of it. They would leave the kashara in the shower. And this was a shared shower. So he would accidentally leave the kashara in the shower. And sometimes Mampurk would go. Mampurk ne aap kehna, koi gal nahi put, main to dinna. I'll wash the kashara for you. And the Singh inna pola, not out of like anything wrong with us in mind, nothing malicious in his mind, but just out of pure innocence and ignorance. He would just say, theek hai ji, tusi kar lo. He didn't know any better. ਤੇ ਮਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਆਦਤ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ. ਤੇ ਮਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਫੋਨ ਕੀਤਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਖਾ ਲੈਣਾ? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖਾ ਲਈਦਾ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਪੜੂਈ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂਜੀ. ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲੈਣਾ? ਨਿਤਨੇਮ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ? ਹਾਂਜੀ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ. ਫਿਰ ਮਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ, ਕਸ਼ਹਿਰਾ ਧੋ ਲੈਣਾ? ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ, ਹਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖ ਮੇਰੇ ਕਸ਼ਹਿਰੇ ਧੋ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. ਆਖੋ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ. ਮਾਂ ਨੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਿਉਂ ਝਟਕਾਂ ਮਾਰੀਆਂ. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, ਜਾ ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੁੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਤੂੰ ਨਾਸ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢੀਆਂ. ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੇ ਸੋਚਿਆ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ. But through this we realize ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ. They laid down. They would grab their dastar. They would put it at our feet. They say, ਆਪਾਂ ਬਣ ਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਸਲੱਗ, ਹਰਮਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੇ ਚਰਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਮੇਰੀ ਪੱਗ. These are the rhymes they would tell us. They would lay down in our feet. And we learned one thing for sure, was the level of humility that is required to become such a saint. ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਡੰਡੋਤ ਕਰ, ਗੁਰ ਭਾਈ ਗਲ ਮਿਲ ਗਲ ਲਾਵੇ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸੋਚੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬੜੀ ਐਕਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ ਗੱਲ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਇਹ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਦੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ. This doesn't come inside of your mind when you're looking at each other on the basis of what sort of dastar he ties, on the basis of where he lives and what sort of accent he has, or what type of level of reading of Gurbani he has, and you think you're better than the other person. ਨਹੀਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਚੋਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਨੇ, they used to lay down in front of the sangat. Guru Ramdas Ji laid in front of the sangat. And you are telling me you're too good for that? Physically you must do the bhakti. Khair. Namaskar dandot kar, gur pai gal mil gal lave, kirt virt kar dharm di. You do your honest means of living. Kirt virt kar dharm di. You are fulfilling your bhakti within your mind, yet your eyes and ears are still going somewhere else. You fulfill an honest means of living. You're saying you will do your bhakti on a Sunday, yet you're running a gas station where you are selling alcohol and cigarettes. So what are you really providing to the world? Through your work, question yourself. To the company and the work that I provide to the world, what is that giving to the world? You might say, I'm just a cashier, or I just put in data entry. But you are putting data entry into something into the world. You are adding your every effort that you are putting, where you receive your income, is adding something to the world. That will become a form of bhakti as well. ਸਿਆਣੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਘਰੇ ਗਏ, and they kept asking, ਸਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੀ, ਸੁੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਰਿਹਾ. Every time we sit down to read Nitnem, we're not able to focus. There just seems to be a negative aura inside of our house. And ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟਾਂ ਬੜੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. Every house has a basement there. And many people, they run businesses out of their basements. ਸਿਆਣੇ ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰੇ ਗਏ, ਪੁੱਛਿਆ, and they would ask ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਤਨੇਮ ਕਰਦੇ, ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ, what do you do throughout your day? Do you do nindya of each other? They said, no, we refrain from everything. To the point, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਿਤਨੇਮ ਵੀ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ. They would run sangat inside their house, and they're saying we're preparing to take Amrit in the next week as well. But ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ in our mind we're still not able to focus. They weren't able to realize. And in this conversation, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ I'm not able to tell why you're not able to focus, what's going on inside of your life. They stayed the night there. The next morning, the wife of the house said, okay, Babaji, here's your langar. I've got a client coming in the basement. And they said, what is your client? They said, oh, we run a salon, a beauty parlor in the basement. ਉੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੇਸ ਕੱਟਦੇ ਹਾਂ. We cut case. I run a beauty salon. I do waxing. I do eyebrows. I do a whole bunch of things. And different women come and I get them ready for their beauty pageants and for their weddings. ਇੱਥੇ ਮਾਂ ਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੁੜਦੀ. Just because of this. ਕਿਰਤ ਵਿਰਤ ਕਰ ਧਰਮ ਦੀ ਹੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਭਲਾ ਮਨਾਵੈ. Are you fulfilling the purpose of your hands? Are you doing bhakti with the hands even through your work? This is a question you will have to ask yourself. It is not just of the sangat and doing the seva and doing nimrata and falling and washing the feet of the sangat, but actually what you're doing 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week through your part-time. And then with that money, with these hands, where you grab the money, where you're grabbing it from and where you're giving it. That money can be of blood or it can be of amrit. Pars apars hoy. Bhai Gurdas Ji describes next. But if you are touched by the one that is untouchable, we come into this world. Pars apars hoy. You come within this world and you are touching many things. We are being entangled within this world of Maya. Sometimes we fall under that moh. We fall under the attachment of our own bodies and we forget the bigger picture. If you are touched by the Guru, then you become a paras as well. You become untouchable. You become indifferent from this world. You can live within the waters and become indifferent. But you must fulfill it within the world as well. That doesn't mean you're rising above the world. Because with your eyes and ears, you're still physically walking within the world. So ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕੱਢ ਦੋ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਜਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ, I don't need to tell my Guru I love him. I'll just, do it within my heart. Because Kabir Ji says, no, out loud I will sing it. Kabir keso kuki hai. I will sing it out loud. Take my tongue away the day I stop singing your praises. May my tongue rot away the day I stop singing your praises. Pyareo, sometimes the entanglement comes. Let's take a quick look at through Atiyas. Baba Sham Singh Atari ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੜੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਰਨੈਲ ਹੋਏ. When the armies of the British, they were in India, then there were many different regiments and dals of just the Singhs that would fight against the Singhs. During those times, there was Akali Baba Fulla Singh, Akali Baba Naina Singh, different Singhs that were Jathedars and many other sub-Jathedars. And one of the greatest warriors, their name was Baba Sham Singh Atari. They had another Singh with them. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ originally was Baba Teja Singh. But later they were nicknamed Baba Tegha Singh. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਿਰਪਾਨ ਦੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਬਹਾਦਰੀ ਬੜੀ ਸੀਗੀ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਸੀ Baba Tegha Singh. In this battle across a bridge, on one side they're being surrounded, on the other side ਉਸ ਪੁਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ ਫੌਜ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਆ. Baba Sham Singh Atari says on that battlefield, he says, Singho, ਇੱਥੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀ ਪਾਉਣੀ ਆ. We're not going to turn back. We're going to go onto this bridge and we're going to lay down our lives. Even if we have to, because this is the hukum of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Baba Sham Singh Atari says, no matter what happens, you're not going to turn away. Don't turn away. Don't turn your face away from the world, towards the world, away from the Guru, if it means lay down your life now. Baba Sham Singh Atari rides forward. As they're riding forward on this bridge, the British is on the other side. They're shooting their bullets. And as they're going through the white steed of Baba Sham Singh Atari, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੀਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਈਆਂ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ Baba Sham Singh Atari ਜੀ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀ ਪਾ ਲਈ. And as the Singhs are one by one or two by two going across this bridge, Baba Tegha Singh and many others are also on this bridge. ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਪੁਲ ਤੇ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਅੱਗੋਂ ਜਕਾਰਾ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਬਾਬਾ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀ ਪਾ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਨੇ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੁਣ ਜਥੇਦਾਰ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀ ਪਾ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰੀਏ So in a military there is a quick decision you have to make. There's a quick decision. When I was in the combat engineer regiment in the Canadian Army, there was one thing that we were taught when you engineer the battlefield, which is what our job was. Where do you draw the bridge? Where do you have an escape route for your army? What do you do if that route gets compromised? Have you set up backups before that? What is your plan A, plan B, plan C? You have to think before, right? You can't just jump onto the bridge with no plan. So the Singhs jump onto this bridge. They're fighting. Their Jathedar has become Shaheed. Now they need to think about the future of the Panth. They're thinking, and this decision needs to come in a split second. And I want you to compare this to your life. You might tell yourself, when I die, Antakal Narayan Simra Asi Chinta Main Jimre. I'm not going to do any seva, any bhakti, any nitnem. But when it comes to my last moment of my life, then I'll think about the Guru. You're foolish to tell yourself that you'll be able to remember God in that moment, because I guarantee you, in that moment, you'll be remembering if you got life insurance or you didn't. You'll be remembering, did you forget to pay your bill that month? Will your children be left with it? Did you remember to transfer your house over to your children? Those are the things you're going to think about, because your mind will go where your moh is, where your attachment is, if you've not done the Nitnem and the Bhakti beforehand. In that bridge, there was a second to make this decision. Should they stay on the bridge or should they jump into the river in order to survive another day to fight for the Panth? But their Jathedar told them to lay down their lives then and not look back. But in that split second, Baba Tegha Singh describes themselves and he says, Asi ote galti kar li. They said in that moment we made a decision. There's no escape either way on the bridge. They jumped from the bridge. They jumped from the bridge, they landed in the water, and they swam to the shore. Pyareo, as soon as they arrived to the shore, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਾਬਾ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਰੂਹ ਦੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਏ. We had the darshan. We were greeted by the spirit of Baba Sham Singh, their Jathedar, who just gave Shahidi on the bridge. And Baba Sham Singh pointed at Baba Tegha Singh, and he says, तू गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी दा सिख नहीं ते गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी तेरे गुरु नहीं. He said, मैं तेरा उस्ताद नहीं ते तू मेरा चेला नहीं. Let me repeat that. Because they went against the words of their Gurpai, of their Jathedar. And they said, we will die on the bridge for you. The Jathedar died and they jumped off the bridge afterwards. He said, I'm not your master. I'm not your leader. And you are not my follower. मैं तेरा उस्ताद नहीं, तू मेरा चेला नहीं. गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी तेरे गुरु नहीं, ते तू गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी दा सिख नहीं. These are the words that the Spirit said, turned his back and walked away. The Spirit vanished. Baba Tegha Singh ji aap apni zindagi vich likhde ne. They write this. They describe this to Master Tara Singh. They were young at that time. They lived until the age of 80 years old. 80 years old. 80 saal di umar tak. They said as much as they tried to find seva for the Panth after, they didn't. Because they turned their face away from it. Okende, what we fought our entire life for, against bandits, against thieves, okende asi ohi cheez ban ke reh gaye. Kende we became beggars. Kisi ne sada na nahi puchya. They didn't ask us to even feed us. They said we became ashamed of what we were, that we were putting a dog on the Guru's bana. And what we were turning into. We turned into the bandits that we fought against. We turned into those thieves that we fought against. And we lived in the jungles. That era between that time was lost for these things. No matter what they tried, they said, we can't find Guru Sahib da hath sade sir to chakkya gaya. At the age of 80 years old, he is sitting in a cave. And he writes this towards Master Tara Singh. This is right at the turn of towards where the movement of India and the Gadri Babe are coming to be. This is towards the time of 1947 and beyond that. An 80-year-old bajorg cries, ro ke 80 saal de bajorg ne apna haal dasya. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੋਂ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਮੂੰਹ ਮੋੜ ਲਿਆ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀ ਪਾਈ Why did we not listen to the instructions at that time? क्यों? क्योंकि मन दे विच मोह आ गया. We, in the last moment, we thought about our own selves. We thought about ourselves and our ego. अब असी की सेवा करांगे, असी किद्दां करांगे, ये असी भुल गए कि गुरु साहिब साडे कोलों सेवा करवा रहे ने. In that moment, they forgot it. We turned towards the waters, tried to save our lives. And in that moment, we lost everything. It would have been better to not live that type of life and instead give that shahidi at that time. So, pyareo, sometimes we only think 5 years ahead and 5 years past what's happened in our life. But jehdi Guru di seva di khed hai na, it is beyond. It is beyond what we think. Khair main benti karan, jithe moh aa gaya, this is where your mind will turn. This is where Gursikh pooj ke, Bhai Bhagat pe, Pana pave. The Gursikh worships the Gursikh as if they're the Guru's hukam. They serve in this way. You're fulfilling your hands. Physically, that shahidi, that fight was Baba Tegha Singh's bhakti. It was Baba Nawab Kapoor Singh Ji's bhakti outside of Akal Takht, taking care of the horses and waving the fan. It is Bhai Gurdas Ji's seva as they're riding. It is by Mardana Ji's seva and bhakti as they're playing this rabab with their hands. And that becomes the physical experience of connecting to the Guru. They are fulfilled there. Their eyes are fulfilled. Their ears are fulfilled in that moment. To that point where even if they now lose their eyes, they lose their ears. Even if a Gursikh is now not in front of them, but Gursikhon da prem ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਿਕਲਦਾ. Gursikh ਪੂਜ ਕੇ ਭਾਏ ਭਗਤ ਪੈ ਪਾਣਾ ਭਾਵੈ. ਪਿਆਰਿਓ 5 ਮਿੰਟ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ ਨੇ. ਇਹ 5 ਭੱਬਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਨੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਅਤੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ. ਭਾਏ ਭਗਤ ਪੈ ਪਾਣਾ ਭਾਵੈ. These 5 ਭੱਬੇ. If you walk away with nothing today, walk away with these 5 things. You must instill this, and you will do this by serving another Gursikh. You will implement these 5 qualities inside of your heart. You need love. Without prem, what is there? You can't do bhakti without love. You can't do kirtan without love. You can't do seva without love. नहीं तो तुसी रखा पढ़ा करोगे. ऊपरों you can hug another Gursikh because you're supposed to. You've been told to hug another Gursikh. You're told to say fateh from your parents. But if you don't really mean it, what is the point? You're told to do jode andi seva. You're told to do pande andi seva. You don't do it with love. What's the point? The chaur sahib you do, fulfill that with love. Bhai Bhagat, turn that into bhakti. When you Gursikh pooj ke, when you serve and you fall at the feet and you hug and you embrace and you serve another Gursikh, when you spend time, when you talk with another Gursikh, I mil Gursikh, I mil tu mere Guru ke pyare, tina dekh man chao uthanda, hon kad pai guntasa, Gursikha andar Sadgur varta. That is the form of my Guru. There's no difference between that Gursikh. This dada is not ours, this is Guru Gobind Singh Ji's. This damala is not mine, this is Guru Gobind Singh Ji's. And you are here to slander the damala of Guru Gobind Singh Ji? You are saying, by not taking on the physical maryada, that you were greater than Guru Gobind Singh Ji because they took a dada and I didn't need to? You're telling yourself, my ego will become too great if I take on an amrit. But Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they didn't need to? So pyareo, ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਦਸਤਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਚੋਲਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ. This is not ours, this is Guru Gobind Singh Ji's. Because the chin strap you have, the jeans that you wear, guess what? They are not of yours either. Whose are they? There are some fashion model, some designer that has designed it. Are you willing to turn towards the world or turn towards the Guru? The choice is yours. And if you're going to physically turn within the world towards the Guru, it's going to come through the Guru Sangat. It's going to happen through the Guru's Bani. And it's going to happen through the seva of the Gursikh. Gursikh pooj ke. Bhai Bhagat, through turn this into bhakti, the physical service. Bhai Bhagat pe, and make sure it's done through loving fear. And nowadays, especially our youth, as soon as you hear the word fear and everyone starts having trauma. Fear is not a bad thing because you don't sit in front of your father and just swear at your father. Why don't you? Because you lovingly fear him. Because it's your father. You have a respect. Your father will say, oh, tu mainu idhan bolda hai. Your mother will say, tenu nahi pata main teri maa hai. There's loving fear. In the same way, you must have loving fear and respect towards the Guru. This is why if the Guru jo Gur ke hai, soi pal mano. If you had no respect or love or fear of the Guru, then why would you follow the Guru's hukum? There's no need to. Bhai, Bhagat, Peh, loving fear. Because tu samrat vada, meri mat thodi ram. I am ignorant, I am lost, I don't know, Maharaj, but you are all powerful. You are the great. And this is where, Maharaj, whatever you do within this world, it is all within your bliss. This is your pana. Pai, Bhagat, Pai, pana. Ki Maharaj, I can only lose myself when I accept your command to be pleasing through loving devotion. And Maharaj, if you are falling at the feet of the Gursikhs, then I will as well. I will serve those Gursikhs. And the seva of the Gursikhs is done with these 5 qualities. Pai, Bhagat, Pai, with loving fear. Pana, it is within God's will to serve. And Pave, and they should be pleasing to you when you serve the Gursikh in this way. Hirde vich prem hove. The Gursikh is pleasing to you. And when you do their service, this is where Bhai Gurdas Ji comes and closes this. Aap gavaye, na aap ganave. The Gursikh does not hold on to the, I did this, I held on to this. Akhirli pangdi de vich Bhai Gurdas Ji sari gal sametde ne, aap gavaye na aap ganave. Pyareo, je aapa hathan dis, if you want to find the purpose of your life within this world, and you're going to do a physically experience the physical world, that will connect you to the non-physical, where you will then be able to experience. In fact, if this body of mine is gone, then even then, I'm stuck connected to the Guru. Kahan payo, jo tan payo chin chin, prem jaye to dar pay tere jana. Khair vich inniyan bentiyan pravan karniyan, while speaking, while talking, I've made many mistakes. May we be able to reach the avastha where jiba bajo vilna, एवं जीवत मरना नानक हुक्म पहचान के तो खसमा मलना समय की समाप्ति है। इतनियां बेनतियां प्रवान करनियां, अनजान बच्चा समझ करके माफ़ करना। एहो जी आप जी असीस बख्शते रहना कि गुरु की सेवा आप करते रहिए, कोई भी रसना वांझी ना रवे। सारी संगत गज वज के फतेह बुलाओ जी। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.